Hey, and welcome back to another video. And today is exciting because we're going to be integrating GPT-4 Vision with web scraping. Now, we're not going to be doing traditional web scraping, whereas traditional web scraping is setting up, you have the web page, and then you look at all the components, and then maybe you want to click buttons, do some of the search bar, whatever it is. But the thing about traditional web scraping is that there's a lot of setup. And with that setup, and if you're doing like, popular sites, like for instance, Amazon.com, and you want to get prices of something, the thing is they're going to be updating their website, and as soon as they update their website, that means you're going to have to update the code to accommodate for like the name changing within the DOM, right? So like the button, it could be named something different or whenever they update it. Whatever it is a lot of setup, and it is very powerful, but that comes with the price. And what we're going to be doing today is, instead of doing traditional web scraping, we're going to be taking screenshots of a website using a library in JavaScript called Puppeteer. And then we're going to be taking that screenshot, sending it to an AI agent, and then the AI agent is going to look at it and then do something with it for us. And this is really exciting, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Let's get started. All right, so just diving right in. The first thing to know about this is a little bit more involved, and we also have a JavaScript file and a Python file. The JavaScript file is what's taking the Puppeteer library, doing something with that so that we can actually web scrape a URL and take a screenshot of a web page. And then we're going to be sending that to the Python file, which is where we set up our AI agency. And we're going to have an agent take that screenshot and tell us about it. And as you can see over here, there are some different things, right? So there's package.json. So you actually have to have npm installed, which means you'll have Node installed. And then we have the requirements.txt, which this is just we're only using PyAutoGen on the on the side where we're creating the AI agents. This is the only library that we need there. If you don't have npm installed, all you're going to do is you can either type in npm download in the search bar, or you can go to nodejs.org, and then you can go to the download section. And in here, depending on your system, you'll either install Windows, Mac, or you'll use Linux. This is pretty much cut and dry. You're just going to download this, have everything installed, and then we're good to go. And then once you download my project, or you're creating a new one, then what you would need to do is either you can just hit npm install. If you're using my project, you use npm install, and it's going to take care of all of the packages for you that I have in the package.json. Separately, you can install Puppeteer, Puppeteer Extra, and Puppeteer Extra plugin Stealth by itself. So you would just say npm I and then Puppeteer, and then you can do that for all of them, and it'll update your code for you, or update your libraries for you. And also for the requirements.txt, all you can need to do is, there's only one library here, and this is PyAutoGen. I just created this for you. So you could just say pip install PyAutoGen, and then we're good to go. So now that we have this set up, let's dive into the code. Okay, well, the first thing is, like I pretty much always go in all my videos, is you need to set up the config list. So you can create a file over here called oai-config-list.json. All you need to do is give the model and the API key for your GPT-4 Vision. Okay, now let's go over the JavaScript side, and then we'll go to the Python. So on the JavaScript side, what we're going to do is we're going to take in this library. So we're going to create a constant variable and require Puppeteer. That's all we need for this video. And then this constant, URL, and SS for screenshot. These are taking arguments that we will see on the Python side, because we have to interact between the JSON file and the Python file. Python has an inbuilt function or library that allows us to do that, called subprocess. And what we can do here is we call subprocess to run this screenshot.js file. And when we come over here, we can take the arguments from the Python file, or the parameters, and we can pass them in here. So whenever we go to run this, the URL, and this is like the screenshot name, we're going to take this and use it to have Puppeteer go to the web page URL and then take a screenshot and name it. The magic that's happening here is this code right here, right? So we create a browser. So Puppeteer will launch a new headless browser. Okay. By the way, headless just means that you're not going to see the browser open up as it's running. It's all going to be running in the background. So if you say headless to false, you can be the true or false, but by default just says new. But if you said headless to false, meaning you don't want it to be headless, then you'll see it open up the web page you'll see it take the screenshot, and if you had other things you wanted to do, you would see all that. But if you have it headless set to true, it actually consumes less processes to do it that way. So that's just what I'm going to do. So it creates a new browser page, sets the viewport. I just default it to 1920 by 1080, and then here we have it say go to the URL that we're going to be passing in whenever we start this whole process, because we're going to have an input where we say, hey, what URL do you want to go to, or do you want to take a screenshot of? So that'll be passed into here. This wait until network idle of 0. This is just the default setting, and the timeout is we gave it 75,000 milliseconds, right? So it's really just 75 seconds. And some of the websites that I've gone to some take a lot longer to load than others. We need to take a screenshot, and what the path means is this is where do we want it saved, okay? We can either have it saved in a directory, or I create a directory called screenshots, and as you'll see when we go to run this, I'm gonna store all the screenshots in this directory, and it'll capture that screenshot for us to use. And then full page is set to true, meaning either we can get exactly what we see, what you would see on your monitor, right? We can either capture that, this would be set to false, or true, meaning if you can scroll down and what was already preloaded, it will also capture that in the screenshot. However, if a website I think does lazy loading, then whenever it doesn't, so meaning that content on the web page doesn't load until you scroll down, then it won't see that. Maybe there's other settings for that, but for now I just set this to true. So whatever is actually loaded on the screen when you go to that web page, it'll capture everything. And then of course, once we're all done, we want to close the browser. All right, and that's it for the JavaScript side. Let's go to the Python side where the agents are. Okay, so here we are on the Python side. This is where we're going to be using AutoGen and AI agents. Some of the stuff we've already seen before. So for instance, we create a config list, so autogen.config list from JSON. So we're going to be taking everything from the JSON file that we created in the beginning. We want to filter by the model. So if you had multiple models in there, you could filter this config list to use this model and the model's API key. And then for this example, we're just going to have two agents, an image agent and a user proxy agent. So we're going to have a multimodal conversible agent. We're just going to give it the name, and we have to give it the LLM config, where we just give it the config list. I set the temperature to 0.5. Actually, you know what? Let's try 0.75. And then the max tokens to 500. And then we have a user proxy where this is just you or me. We're just saying this is a human admin. I don't care about responding back, because I want the AI agent to do something with the screenshot. And then we're not gonna reply. So we set that to 0. All right, so we have three functions here that are gonna do something in order. All right, so at the bottom here, we say response equals initiate chat. All right, so let's open up this function. And what does this do? Well, the first thing is, and this is just the way I'm presenting it to you so you can kind of see what's going on, is I have three inputs, right? This means that whenever you go to run this, whatever you input here is what will be used for the program. So the first one is, what URL do you want to check? What do you want from this URL, which is really, this is like the prompt message, and then the screenshot name, and then this B64 image. So basically this creates the screenshot. All right, the first thing we're going to do here is we're just saying we're going to be crawling the URL that we're passing in. If the screenshot name exists in the directory, just go ahead and remove it, because we're just going to overwrite it. All right, now we have result equals subprocess.run. All right, this is where I was saying earlier, when we go back to the JavaScript file up here, we said the constant URL and the screenshot, we're saying process.arguments, we're taking second, which is really the third one, and then the array of 3, which is really the fourth one. So when we come back here and say subprocess.run, this array of arguments, we're saying that, this is like a node file, the file name, which is the name of the JavaScript file, which is screenshot.js. We want to pass in the URL and pass in the screenshot name. So this is argument 3 and 4. So when we come over here, again, URL is actually argument 3. I know it says, but this is how arrays work. They start at 0. So when you say array of 2, it's really the third one, and array of 3 is really the fourth one. So we're going to be passing in the URL and the screenshot name here. So this whole Puppeteer interaction is going to go to that URL here. We're going to the new page. We're going to go to the URL, give it 75 seconds to load, and then we're going to take a screenshot and save it in the full path, where the full path is really, I just did some massaging of the variable here, but it's really just going to be whatever the name of the file is, the JPEG file, then, or if it's in a certain directory, it's going to go ahead down here in the full path and save it there. Coming back to this, we just have an exit code. We run this, right? And say it works, that means the exit code is 0. The exit code is not 0, then we want to have the error code, say which code it was, because there could be more than one. And then we want to get the standard output error that is going to tell us that was wrong with the process. Otherwise, we input the screenshot name into this function, which is up here. And basically we just open the file and then read and decode the file. This is really just creating the screenshot. So then we come back down here. This was the function, so we create the screenshot, right? We return the image. So here, if we return the error string, then, we're just gonna return this and, we don't do anything. However, if there was no error, then we just make a print statement saying that we know that we captured the image. Now, after we created the screenshot from Puppeteer, we bring it back and now we're going to initiate the chat. Now, this is what you're used to, right? So the user proxy, so that's you or me, we're going to initiate the chat with the image agent. We're going to have a message here and say, what is the picture of? We're going to give the exact image, the name of the image that was created in our directory somewhere, wherever you decide to put it. And then the user response message, this is what up here, like the second input, which you'll see here when I go through the example. What do you want from this URL? And so we're going to say, this is basically like the system message, what do you want to do with the image that we just captured? And then we're done. So I know that was a lot. That was a lot of code to go over. So you know what? Let's just run this and see how it works. All right. So all you need to do is make sure that you're in the directory of the project. And so I am puppet_test. So let's just run the Vision crawl Python file, which is where the agent is. So we start running this, and then it's going to come up with 3 prompts. The first one is, what is the URL? Yeah, what is the URL that you want to check? So I already have one ready, and this is going to be from a market called Publix, and I went to the page for new items. So this specific page is going to have new items at that Publix, or just general in Publix. And what do I want from this URL? So what I want is, can you give me a list of all the new items on this page? Okay, so this is going to be a screenshot, of course. It's going to go to the page, make the screenshot, and then I just want to describe everything for me, or just give me a list of all the new items that can be seen on the image file. And what name do you want to give the screenshot? Well, I want it to go to the screenshots directory. So what I would say is publix.jpg. Okay, so if you want to go to a specific directory, first off, the directory has to be made already. I don't have it in here where if you do this, it'll create the directory for you. So just make sure that create it beforehand, right? So then we hit enter, and then what it's doing is it's saying it's going to crawl this website. Now, specifically this market's web page, I don't know if it's optimized very well. It takes a little bit to load, which is why I give it 75 seconds. It doesn't quite take that long, but it takes a little bit. So right now it's crawling the page. It should come up. There should be no errors, and it should say that the image was captured. And then when it does, we're going to start the prompting that you're used to with AutoGen. So let's just give it a second here and see what it does. Okay, so it says image captured. Now, what is this picture of? And again, it just says image, but this is actually the image that was in the screenshots folder here. So as you can see, it created the publix.jpg, and it already responded, said this image shows web page displaying new items at Publix, which is a supermarket chain, blah, blah, blah. And it says that there are 5 items. There's only 5 items on this page, and each product has an option to clip coupon and add the list. Well, let's see if that's true. So I don't even have to go to the website, right? Because I have the Publix image here. So if I double click this publix.jpg, move this over so I'm not in the way. But as you can see here, it went to the web page, took a screenshot. So you can see here, it actually took a screenshot of the whole page because there was no other loading. There's no lazy loading involved. So here's the whole screenshot of the web page. And there are 5 items here. So body armor, white chunk chicken, Downy, whipped cream. So again, it said body armor, white chunk chicken, Downy, dryer sheets, the whipped cream, and the Mount Olive pickles. So that is Mount Olive Majestic Picklery Pickles. Say that 5 times fast. And that's awesome. So it was actually able just to take this image, a screenshot that we took of a website, take that and then let us know information about the items on the page just from the image. And we didn't have to manually go in and have it look at a specific div in the DOM and then go even further into maybe the name of that div or the image, and then tell us information, or the text boxes, right? We didn't have to do any of that. It just did it just from looking at the image that we had to save a screenshot. And I think that's amazing. Honestly, that really is amazing. So this is, I think, an intro to something that's going to be really powerful. It may not end up being this specific library that helps us do that. There may be more powerful things coming in the future, but the idea of what you can do with this it really is amazing, and something that I'm going to be doing in the future, because I think this is something that'd be really helpful. Is what if we can go to, like, say Amazon, say you're looking for something specific like cologne or perfume, and you wanted to go to Amazon.com, and then you wanted to check, I don't know, Macy's, I don't know what any other store that sells it, right? You could go to that specific web page, or if you want to know a little bit more about Puppeteer, you could have it go open up the website, and then it could find, then you could have it find have search in the search bar for cologne and perfume. And when it does that, then you can screenshot, save the image, and then have it parse that image, save into a database from each website, and then you can have another agent run all the comparison of the cologne or perfume from that website, and give that back to you as the top deals, and then maybe give you the link to that direct cologne or perfume. Okay, I mean, that's just one instance. I'm sure there's many more, and I would love to hear what you think and any ideas that you have that can make this more powerful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.